having a fabulous day. It's been a while since I've reminded you that if you have not left a review for this podcast and you are enjoying it, I would greatly appreciate it. It's hard to kind of see those things on my end because I'm an Android user, but Apple Podcast really appreciates it. So if you would do that in iTunes, I would love you forever. And you know what? If you do, I might just send you a Starbucks card if I can figure out how to find them. Just being honest. But anyways, all right, what are we talking about today? Today we're talking about this in my head. I have a million clients. Of course, that's an exaggeration, but I hear it all the time. Like, well, in my head, this is what I was thinking. In my head, this is what I was thinking. Well, in my mind, this is how this would play out. Or I was thinking, or, like this constant, like, well, in my mind, I was thinking. Well, guess what? That's not a clear strategy, and it's not one you can scale. It's not one you can execute on, and it's not one that you can implement. In my head is not a strategy. Okay. The only way that you can implement on a strategy that's in your mind is to get it out of your mind, get it out of your head and get it on paper, right? Because the reality is like our thoughts in our mind, like we get jumbled. Our mind is processing how many millions of things per minute, right? I don't know the scientific research on that, but for God's sakes, like we're processing a lot of information all the time. So you can't physically, you cannot process and put a strategy in place and implement something based on in my mind. Like I hear this all the time. Well, in my mind, this is how this will work out. In my mind, after a client does this, then they'll move to this step. Well, okay, that sounds great, but let's lay it out because on paper, does it make sense? I went through this exercise with a client the other day because she was like, well, in my head, we're just going to move from this workshop, then they'll move into the group program. Like my next step for them would be the group program. Okay, but masterclass is in August. Group program doesn't start until October. Group program doesn't cover what the masterclass covers. How do they implement in between there? Like you can see, like when you put it on paper, they didn't line up. They didn't match and they didn't serve your client in the best way. And you're all about serving your clients in the best way. And so you really need to lay this out. Again, like you need to have it on paper so that you can see, does this make sense? I went through if it's in regards to like a promotion or a launch or a special offer or a master class, inside of my in the Facebook group, if you're not there, I did a live training. It's in the media section on how to plan out your promotional calendar. And it's a very visual look with a calendar, like laying it all out. And when you can see the weeks in between, you can see the dates, you can put things in, because here's the other thing, in your mind, you cannot possibly remember everything else you have going on, right? So like in your mind, I'm going to run this masterclass next week. Okay, whoops, forgot dad's going to be in town. Do you really want to run a masterclass when your dad's in town? Like, shoot, how are you going to do that? Oh, shoot, I forgot the kids are home from school next week. Or wait, next week is the first day of school. Or they're off, there's a holiday. Like, okay, right? Like this is what I'm saying. Like your mind, you cannot physically remember all of these things. So you've got to put it on paper. You've got to get it on a calendar because that's where you're visually going to be able to see if it makes sense, if the layout, if it's a strategy that you can implement. All right. So get it out of your head. In my mind or in my thoughts or in my head, not really a strategy. Okay. It's not one you can take action on. You can take action. It'll be messy action. And ultimately it's probably just going to leave you spinning in circles. And you're going to forget things. You're going to end up scrambling on certain things. Why? It's just not worth it. So get it out of your head. Truly, all those thoughts, you've got to get them out of your head. I don't care if you do it digitally. I don't care if you do it pen and paper. I don't care how you get it out of your head. But in my head is not a strategy. So if you're struggling and your only strategy is in your head, start there. That's step one. Get it out of your head and then go step two, take action, go watch that training. It's free. It's there. It's available. It was me. Like I went through it live with you guys. Like I gave that training, right? I went through it in my own personal business. So it shows you exactly like how you got to move things around. And like, again, because I had this kind of laid out, this generalized plan of what it looked like from now until the end of the year. But then when I started putting it on paper, I was like, well, wait a second, that doesn't make sense here. That's not going to work here. You know, you can move things around. So go watch that training if you're struggling with it. But step one is really just truly like stop relying on your mind to put a strategy in play, right? Put all the pieces together. Your mind is like good for the pieces, but you got to put them together. You can't put them together in your head. It just doesn't work. There's something you're going to forget. There's always going to be a missing piece. And that missing piece could be the difference between something going really, really successfully and not doing well at all. Okay? So don't put yourself in that position. It's just not worth it. All right? Talk to you soon. Bye.